off. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Forest Hills School District Board of Education meeting on Wednesday, September 20th. Call to order.
Mr. Bibb?
Here.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Here.
Mrs. Stewart?
Here.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Here.
Mrs. Jonas is absent this evening.
Item 1.3. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.4, we have safety briefing. The doors that you all came in is an exit, and we have two down here at the bottom. 2.1, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt agenda.
I'll second.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes. Item 3.1, we have the approval of the minutes of the Teaching and Learning Committee on August 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Teaching and Learning Committee meeting.
I'll second.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes. Item 3.2 is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on August 16th. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting on August 16th.
I'll second.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes. Item 4.0, we have special recognitions this evening. We have, first up, we have National Merit Scholarship Program presented by Kyle Fender.
Appreciate it.
All right. It's going to need to go up even higher when I'm done. Yeah. Each year in the fall semester, both Anderson High School and Turpin High School students administer the PSAT to all sophomores, as well as a select group of high-achieving juniors. Approximately 1.5 million students across the nation take the PSAT each year, and top-scoring individuals move forward in what's called the National Merit Scholarship Program, as achieving either commended, semifinalist, or finalist status. We are extremely proud of the students who will stand before you this evening, of their hard work, their determination, and academic excellence. We are so thankful for their parents, many of whom you have been able to join them here this evening. And we want to say thank you to the parents who have done, for all that they've done over the years to guide, instruct, teach, and affirm their sons and daughters in the importance of hard work in the classroom.
I am Andy Jados, principal of Turpin High School, and we are about to recognize some truly incredible students. The top 50,000 students qualify as commended status, representing the top 3% of all students nationwide who took the exam. They are leaders in the classroom and are highly involved in other activities throughout the building. The following students have achieved this status. So for Turpin High School, Grace Osterlund, Jimmy Roberto, Maklit Sidito, and Eva Thigi.
From Anderson High School, Chad Bowling, Anna Elfers, Carson Girding, Samantha Howard, Christina Johnson, and Gianna Volpano. We ask that those students please come down to receive their letter of commendation. Those are
Those are the
my,
next ones,
those are
yeah.
my next ones.
Okay, everybody good?
At this time, the superintendent recommends that the board commend the following students for their achievement and distinction for having been named commended students in the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program and present a certificate of commendation to them. It's listed as two separate.
I make a motion to commend the National Merit Scholarship Program students that were commended on the list below.
Second.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes.
Congratulations.
I know we're going to get a photo op out in the lobby as well, so if students and families want to head out that way for more photo opportunities, but we're not yet done celebrating our awesome students. We have another group here to celebrate as part of the National Merit Scholarship Program. The top 16,000 students qualify for semifinalist status, representing the top 1% of all students nationwide who took this exam. Out of this group, there's a process these individuals must do in order to be considered for finalist status. So we're in the process of working through that, and hopefully we'll be back at a future meeting to celebrate that as well. The following students have achieved semifinalist status at Anderson High School: Jade O'Brien, Witten Pan, and Tyler Surrey.
And for, excuse me, for Turpin High School, Patrick Caraway and Anjali Rahman. The superintendent recommends the board commend the following students for their achievement and distinction for having been named semifinalists in the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program and present a certificate of commendation to them.
I'll make a motion to commend the students listed below as National Merit Scholarship Program semifinalists.
Second.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of students and their families. Moving on over to 4.3, we have the Governor's Thomas and Edison Awards for Excellent in STEM Education, 22-23.
Good evening. We have lots of positive things to share tonight, so I'm very excited about that. And I know there were a couple meetings ago where Larry stole my thunder and mentioned something about a report card, and I told him, shh, Not until it's final. Well, it's final and it's good stuff, and he will go over it later. But I rarely have the opportunity as the assistant superintendent to take the microphone and say the things that are on my heart. I first of all want to recognize the students and their amazing work that they do. But this excellence also doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from the hard work that come from the teachers who are in the trenches with our kids every day. But we also have administrators, my teaching and learning team, the things that you do each and every day. Betsy was crazy enough to hire me a couple of years ago with the sole focus of focusing on gap closing. And sister, we're doing it. we're doing some really great things. So I'm just very proud of the work that we're doing, and I'm also very proud of our community and the work that we do for all of our students. And I do believe wholeheartedly when we focus on student outcomes and making a positive difference in their lives, we do amazing things. One of which includes this next award, the Governor's Thomas Edison Awards for Excellence in STEM Education. I believe Corey Mullins is here tonight. If Corey, Gail, if you want to come on up. Friends from our science departments in both high schools, Alex Bove, if you're here. I'm going to read everybody's name off, but if you're here, I know your high school principals will be joining you here in a second. So you're aware, the Ohio Academy of Science and Technology Division of the Ohio Department of Development once again recognizes Anderson and Turpin High Schools with the 2022 Governor's Thomas Edison Awards for Excellence in STEM Education. There were only 45 schools in Ohio and 491 teachers who received this award. The criteria for this Award of Excellence are to conduct a local science fair with 12 or more students and have 2 or more of these students participate in the 22 virtual district science day, or have 6 or more students participate in the 2022 virtual district science day when no local has been conducted, and students must participate in 1 more youth science opportunity beyond the classroom. The Ohio Academy of Science defines STEM education as both the mastery and integration of science, technology, engineering, mathematics for all pre-K through 12 students. I think it's a fair assessment that we had more than 6 students participate. Bob, do you remember? We had, oh boy, Laura may remember. We could pull it up here in a little bit. It's a lot. But I would like, if you all would like to join, did anybody else come from your department tonight? It's okay. We have teachers who are coaches and doing lots of other things afterwards. But if you'd like to come. Corey, if you would like to accept this on behalf of your Turpin science teachers, Bill Bankin, Aaron Burling, Beth Brill, Lindsay Burton, Gail Garza, James Glazer, Brett Granger, Peter Hoying, and of course yourself. And then Alex Bove, if you would like to come up and accept on behalf of your department. I'm going to go ahead and shake your hand, give this to you. That includes Alex, David Brandon, Caitlin Calder, Allison Cassidy, Justin Good, Jeffrey Granger, Luis Keep, Corey Larison, Holly Loudon, Paige Orick, Jeff Rodriguez, Courtney Snyder, and Troy Spitzmuller. So, and again, as far as the work that our teachers do, there's a lot of work around what you might hear PLCs or professional learning communities. The science departments at both high schools are models for the work that we do in the rest of the district. They do amazing work and provide real-life opportunities on a regular basis for our students. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Next up is the reports to the Board of Education. First, we have the Forest Hills Teachers Association. Chris Preston.
Hello and good evening. The school year is off and running, and I have one brief message for you. I've had the pleasure of visiting 4 of our buildings thus far since the beginning of the school year to say hello to our staff. I've been to Turpin and Anderson High Schools, Nagel Middle School, and Wilson Elementary. I found it interesting that as different as the buildings are, there is one common theme in all of them. Our teaching and support staff engage with students in meaningful ways. I witnessed our staff laughing, smiling, guiding, coaching, teaching. And I also witnessed our students being engaged, focused, and in many cases also smiling and laughing too. I'm thankful that when daily distractions can come from every direction, our teaching and support staff remain dedicated and focused to provide students with the opportunity to research, question, explore, experiment, and problem solve. The Forest Hills Teachers Association is committed to working with the Forest Hills School District, community members, and Board of Education to continue to provide conditions that help achieve the district vision of striving to ensure success for all students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Item 5.2, we have the Forest Hills Foundation for Education, Ms. Stacy Gilliard.
Good evening. On behalf of the Forest Hills Foundation, we have some exciting things coming up. I love when we can share fun upcoming events as we continue to support the kids. So I first wanted to start off with last meeting, I did share that this is the 15th year of the Forest Hills Foundation. So it was founded in 2008, and since that time, clearly I've learned recently even a lot of the historical information about what transpired when the foundation was first started and how it was actually voted in and approved by the school board, which I thought was fantastic. And one of the things that stood out to me, even tonight, listening to all the National Merit Scholarships, is that the foundation actually in 2011 came to the district and said, hey, we really want to fund and pay for pre-ACT and ACT testing, and also additional college prep work, interviewing skills, and all of that. And so I bring that up because through the years, in the last 15 years, there's a lot of things that our donors, when you support the foundation, you actually are really impacting directly on the students. And so whether it was Nagel After School, which was the first thing, to the pre-ACT, which over $40,000 was spent on that. Now that specific program is funded and funneled through the district now, but it just showcased how we have really worked to find the needs of students and what they are today. And so moving into 2011, 2017, we focused a lot of our efforts on STEM, and starting in about 2017 to the present was around wellness. And so since that time, I'm proud to share that the foundation has donated over $2.8 million in our community for children, for our commitment to being student-focused and community-driven. So, for all of you that are listening and here tonight, a couple things that are coming up. How many of you, I'm sure, well, I will speak for my family, who are big FCC fans? Tomorrow night, we actually are honored that the Anderson Autographs is hosting an event at Goodfellows from 5:30 to 7. Nick Hagland, who is one of the current FCC players, will be there for signings and photographs. And so if you have some time, you can even just stop by real quickly. I know I'm doing that with my own children, and we appreciate, one, that Nick took the time to do this, and more importantly, that all of the proceeds actually go back to the Forest Hills Foundation, and so for the kids. The other thing is to stay tuned. We are going to be doing our 15 days and raising $15,000 starting October 1 in honor of our 15-year. The other thing, too, is I'm proud to also share that we had 2 alumni that actually will be giving matching gifts if we reach $15,000. So Michael Brandy, who graduated in 74 from Anderson, and Bruce Hellman, who graduated at Turpin in 78. So thanks to both of them for seeing a need, wanting to continue to give back. They don't actually live in Anderson anymore. They do not have kids in Anderson anymore. They truly believe that the experience they had in high school has shaped who they are today and want to give back and pay it forward, which is great. And then the last one is you're invited. It was supposed to stay invited. The Fall Soiree, which is our big gala event that we have, will be on Saturday, November 11th. A plug, if anybody wants to be a host, let me know. This event has been super fun the last few years. It's not as dressy. We have a lot more younger parents coming, so it's a really great event as we continue to raise money for the kids. So the last thing, well, two things. One is October 12th, I forgot to include that in our slides. We have partnered with the district as one of our district grants this year for Parent Academy, and we are helping fund the Academy this year. We believe it's important to invest in parents so that they are knowledgeable and continue to have good relationships with their kids and support their kids. And so the first one is on October 12th. And then the last thing too, I always like to bring it back to the kids because every day that's kind of what I wake up and think about, not only my own children, but also all the kids that are represented and attend Forest Hills, and just hearing the impact that you are making when you give to the foundation, whether it's STEM focused or more books in the classroom, your dollars are directly impacting thousands and thousands of students across the community. So thank you. And then the last thing I'm just going to share is that tonight around my dinner table, which was maybe 10 minutes because my kids were running around, is we talked about the importance of listening. And I bring this up because, one, for those that know me, I do like to talk a lot. However, I think that it's tonight and moving forward, it was a reminder to my kids and to myself as an adult of the importance of, when we are all together, what it means to listen to each other and respect each other. And so I share that tonight. I appreciate everybody that continues to support the foundation. We're looking forward to another great year. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, item 6.0, we have the superintendent update.
Thank you, President Hosfeld, members of the board. I'd like to also echo Chris Preston's thoughts. I happen to be with about a month in at school. We've been to all the buildings, and it is amazing to watch the interaction between our students, our great teachers, our administration, and our staff members. A lot of wonderful news. One of them I want to share right out of the gate, and I'm hoping he's here. I haven't seen him, but I'd like to introduce our new school, one of two now, school resource officers. Is he at? Where's he at? There he is. You can't miss him. He's a big guy. So Officer Jeremy Dwyer is our newest school resource officer. And he joins Officer SRO Ryan Wolf in that critical position, and they'll have their hands full. I mean, it's a big territory for two, but we're excited to have you. I think something else is pretty cool. This is Officer Dwyer's first day at school, and you know he's got his Star Wars lunchbox, and thank you, honey, right? Thank the wife for that one. But we're excited about it. Officer Wolf and Officer Dwyer both attended Maddox as children and are members of the community, and so we're very excited to have you aboard. Thank you for your service, and we're glad you're with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's just one example of our partnership with Anderson Township that I think is really a special one for us. And so we look forward to many years with those guys. I also wanted to mention we just got word that Brian Lee, our associate principal at Turpin High School, was nominated for the 2023-24 Assistant Principal of the Year Award by the Ohio Association of Secondary School Administrators. So that's pretty exciting. So I don't think Brian's here. Maybe he is. I'm not sure. Is Brian here? Nope. But I think that's a great shout out to him for what he's accomplished. He's 1 out of 11 in the state of Ohio. So it's pretty cool. And so I've gotten to know him over this past year, and he's the real deal. Wonderful human being and a great assistant principal for us. You probably already realized, but all of this has happened since our last board meeting, that U.S. News and World Report rankings, both Turpin and Anderson are ranked in the top 4% of schools in the entire state of Ohio, out of more than 1,000 high schools across the entire state. Right now, we have Turpin that placed 14th and Anderson at 39. Outstanding work on their parts. A lot of things go into it. There's probably 7 or 8 categories. Obviously, academic performance is key with it. Turpin was ranked 7th in all of this area, Southwest Ohio, and 12th by Anderson. So fantastic job again, making U.S. News and World Report rankings. I won't spend a lot of time on the excellence in STEM because that was already recognized, but there's a lot of people that this isn't an easy thing to accomplish. This is a lot of energy and a lot of work by teachers and kids that have a passion for STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They've just done a bang-up job, and I'm so proud of what we give our kids in the area of STEM. And as was mentioned, but I just think it's worth remembering that there are just 48 schools in Ohio that qualified for this. So we're in rarefied air. So congratulations again to both those science programs at Anderson and Turpin as well. Again, the National Merit Scholarship, that's just amazing how far we've come. The finalists will be announced. Typically those are February, I believe. But it's obviously a very small group of semifinalists. So it's a 3-year process before you get into, the national merit finalist possibilities. But, you're talking about semifinalists that are in the top 1%, 1.2% of students that enter into this journey. So you're talking about the best of the best. And you saw a huge group of them today, and I just think that that's amazing. I think they've done a wonderful job preparing those kids. I tried to we didn't have a for sure until late last week. So, but it was close. We kept watching it and making sure it didn't change on us. But what I want to share is that we received 5 stars across the district, Forest Hill School District, and wow. I sent an email out. I kind of took a day to dive into the information and try to really see what we'd been doing, and it was amazing. So to all of our teachers, and it's not just teachers, it's administration, it's it's everybody that touches our kids. You know, that's all important. Just a fantastic job. You not only, the state calls it significantly exceeding state standards. They crushed it. They absolutely crushed it across the board. Only 75 districts earned 5 stars out of the 600 and whatever it is this year, 614, you know, give or take 1 or 2. Also, within those, that was the overall rating, but there are, we also earned 5 stars in the subcomponents of achievement, early literacy, graduation rates, and gap closing. Under the achievement component, we had a 93%, and from what we could find, that's the highest in history in Forest Hills. It's a combination of a couple of things, but specifically the one is that really hits home for me is the performance index. Well above, you know, went to 101.8. We are above pre-pandemic standards and the highest standards in the history of Forest Hill School District. So again, kudos for the achievement of our students. And this is all students. You know, this is all of our students. Early literacy was also a 5-star. Early literacy is kind of special to me because if kids aren't reading early, if they're not reading by 3rd grade, 4th grade, we have some significant issues. And our teachers, and even though it compares a couple of things, promotion rate to 4th grade, as well as scores in reading in 3rd grade, this is also indicative of what our preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade teachers do with these kids, because they come to us at all different levels, and getting them up to the ability to read at that level is amazing. I think that when you look at some of our scores and you use the comparison to districts that are like us, which the state uses, we are second only to Solon School District up in the Cleveland area, which is, again, just absolutely crushed it. And kudos to our teachers and staff and students that just really got after it. I think that's just absolutely amazing. Graduation rate was also, we believe right now that Anderson also hit the highest graduation rate in their history as well. Overall, 96.2% graduate within 4 years, and 97.1% in 5 years. And that's determined when a kid enters as a freshman, the clock starts. Now, we've had some discussion with the state about how they actually compute that, because we encourage our kids that want to defer their diploma, that have special needs, to do so, because they can receive services up until their 22nd birthday. And so that should be rewarded, not hurt. You know, it shouldn't be. So it's just fantastic to see what's happening. And the final one I wanted to mention was gap closing. Gap closing is about, easiest way is a year's growth in a year's time. That's kind of what it is. Also, what it means is how our subgroups, the state puts, if we have a certain number of kids within particular subgroups identified, and we have 6, 7 subgroups, spec ed, gifted, multiracial, Hispanic, Black, economically disadvantaged, and then an overall score as well. Again, 5 stars. They just absolutely crushed it, and just a superb job. I just really think that that's something we don't want to lose track of how wonderful our kids are doing, and that's what I have. I did attend the Southwest legislative meeting at the Hamilton County ESC last Friday with probably a dozen of our area House representatives and a couple of senators, and just going over the budget bill. Each one had a different perspective, as you can imagine, but it was a good meeting and getting to know those people. So, but very good. Thank you.
Larry,
Yep.
you made a lot of wonderful comments about the awesome work our students are doing. I don't want that to be overshadowed tonight or any time, but I want to take a moment to make sure you see all these students in the audience.
I see him.
They deserve acknowledgement.
I see him. And let's see. Also, item 6.2 is our annual membership to the Ohio High School Athletic Association. We have to do that every year to be included in state playoff programs and competitions, etc. So we need that approved as well.
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Forest Hills School District's continued membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for the 23-24 school year.
I'll second. Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Hook. We have item number 7, which is public commentary. The board is committed to conducting its meetings in a productive and efficient manner to assure that meeting is completed in a reasonable amount of time, but also recognizes the importance of a fair and adequate opportunity for public input. The board provides public participation. Will be a total of 30 minutes. Each speaker will have a 3-minute time limit. If there are more than 10 speakers, individual times will be adjusted down to fit within 30 minutes. The board does not discriminate based on the individual content of the speech or viewpoint of the speaker. If several people wish to speak on the same topic, the time limit may be adjusted at the president's discretion. Speakers are asked to speak from the podium and address the board, and are also asked to start by clearly stating their name and address. We have 20 speakers this evening, each at 1.5 minutes. First up is Rodney Tiemann.
Thank you very much. Rodney Thiemann, 6091 Crittenden Drive. I first wanted to I want to congratulate the National Merit finalists as well as the STEM and Edison Award winners. That's wonderful. And I came also to congratulate the board on a couple items, securing the $600,000 in safety grants. That's very, very, very nice. The increase on the sports medicine partnership from $200,000 to $1 million. And the one I found most interesting was trying to increase more of internships and shadowing. I think it's a great, I think you all call it experienceship or whatever, but great opportunity, I think, as kids go from college, or high school to college, earlier in life, that they can actually better understand what they want to do by shadowing other people. Maybe it isn't college, maybe it's going to the trades, as an example. So I think that's a very good thing, too. The other thing I wanted to talk about, something I think that's very divisive in the community, on both sides. The diversity, I for one believe diversity is paramount. It's very important, but one thing that I always try to do is look at the issue, and something that keeps coming back to me is I wanted to share a story of a clinic in England. It's called Tavistock Gender Clinic, Tavistock. Opened, I think I'm done. Opened in 1989, and 2022 it was shut down due to the fact that 1,000 of those patients sued the school. 89% wish they did not transition, wish they didn't have the gender-affirming drugs. So wait till puberty.
Thank you,
put your kids
Mr.
on
Thiemann.
drugs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next is Mr. Paul McKibben. I'm going to go ahead and announce the next two speakers, and then they can come down over here and stand on the sideline. We have the next up after Mr. McKibben is Ava Morsch, and then Erica Nomaland, and I apologize if I pronounced her name wrong.
Hi, my name is Paul McKibben, 1489 Verdale Drive. I'm a Nagel and Sherwood parent. I'm appalled about what has occurred to the Nagel mural that students created. Mr. Bibb is on tape voicing his opposition to it. Mr. Hook has failed to explain why he ordered it removed. Did some board members pressure him? He did not respond to my email. You work for me. I'm a parent in this district. I have zero confidence in you, sir. I am deeply disturbed by the complete failure and incompetence of Mr. Bibb, Ms. Hausfeld, Ms. Jonas, and Ms. Stewart. Your tenure on the school board has been one self-inflicted, embarrassing wound after another for our district. It's a new school year, and there's another Forest Hills School Board controversy. It's obvious that Mr. Bibb, Ms. Hausfeld, Ms. Stewart, and Ms. Jonas do not value quality public education. Our quality public schools are no place for your senseless culture wars. You should resign. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ava Morsch.
My name is Ava Morsch. My address is 7047 Old Chapel Drive. I'm a senior at Turpin High School, and I helped paint the mural that just got covered up. I've been in this district for 9 years and have seen the bullying problem firsthand. I've seen my friends get picked on for being different races, different sexualities, and religions, and not enough is being done about this. Me and 4 other classmates spent 45 minutes every day for 3 months painting that. And now you've covered it up. And I hope you're happy with what you've done, because now, more than ever, it is getting recognized, it is getting put out there, and people are talking about it. To all the parents in the community and all of the adults that support the covering of this, we have so much more community, and we need to, we really need to just build the community more. To all the parents that are talking bad about this online, you were talking about children. These are children in your community. We need to nurture a community full of love and not hate. The Forest Hills School District needs to do better at this, and the board needs to do better at this. I hope you know that people loved this mural, and we are willing to fight for it, and I am willing to fight for it. Vote in your local elections.
Thank you. Erica Nomaland is next. I'm going to call the next 2 speakers here. We have Representative Rachel Baker, Valerie Nash, and then Tom Hagedorn.
Hi, my name's Erica Nomland. That was my daughter Ava. Her and 4 of her friends created that mural for a gifted education class. The theme was inclusion, not segregation, Bob. And they did an excellent job, and they really are advocates for representing people from different races, sexuality, genders. That thing exists. You guys can fight it all you want with extreme rhetoric. It's going to keep existing. I just want to tell my daughter and all those 4 other young ladies, I'm extremely proud of you. You guys are great advocates. You should be really proud of yourself for representing the people who are being stomped out. And to the kids who felt represented by this mural, and since Larry Hook can't look at them, I will turn around and say you're going to face many walls. And you're going to look at them, and you're going to think you're facing them alone. But turn behind you, and you have an army willing to tear down that wall for you. And you're all loved, valued, and a part of this community. And Forest Hills is inclusive, and they accept diversity. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel Baker's next.
Thank you. My name is Rachel Baker, and I'm an Ayer and Anderson parent, and also the state representative representing this district. As a new state representative, my office reached out to every community and school board in District 27 and requested time on their agenda to discuss the upcoming capital budget that funds projects up to several $1 million for things like roofs and pool renovations. I made it onto the agenda of all groups except one, you all. My office has contacted you over 8 times, eventually resulting in Mr. Hook meeting with me and letting me know that the board president will not allow me to be on the agenda because I'm an elected Democrat. I am shocked by the political games being played by this board, and I wish that the board would value the interest of students over their own personal political agendas. I want to bring resources to our teachers, staff, and students, but I cannot do that without being allowed in the room. I want parents to be aware the offer was made, and the reason our district may miss out on key state resources is solely due to this board's refusal to work with anyone who is different than them. Please know that as the state representative for this district, I would love to collaborate with anyone from any political party who wants to make things better for our community and our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Hagedorn.
She was next, but she's got a cane. Yeah, Tom Hagedorn, 2626 Royal Woods. I want to thank the 4 for Forest Hills board members that were elected 2 years ago. Some of their supporters and other conservatives have faced a pattern of really nasty behavior from some who just don't like the results of that election. Terrible emails about harm to family members, glitter bombs in mailboxes, veiled threats to people's businesses and livelihoods, even taking creepy videos of them in a private social gathering. Shame on them. Some even cheered on a mass student walkout last spring and recent vandalism of school property. That's no example for adults to give to district students. I was, however, disappointed that you 4 were not more proactive about the remnants of the CARE program and the canceled Diversity Day last year. But I'm also disappointed that you voted to put the levy on the ballot. It was way too much and way too early. I'll have more to say on that in January. Taxpayers, sit down for the shock of your life when you get your next bill. Have 2 requests for the 3 of you who will be returning since you bear responsibility for the levy. First, be very frugal with district spending. The administration works for you, not the other way around. Perhaps we can lower staffing to get in line with the smaller number of students that we have now. Because of the levy, we have huge cash balances for years to come. Please make sure the treasurer is getting the best safe return that we can get. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a Miss Valerie Nash up is next, and I'm going to call a couple more here. We got Melissa Walters and Wyatt Lamanek. Could you please line up over here on the stairwell?
Just short and sweet here. My name is Valerie Nash, 6250 Autumn Leaf Lane. I just wanted to say thanks for all your hard work, for following policy, and for all your educational improvements. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Walters.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Walters. I live at 7051 and a half Beachmont Avenue. My daughter is the one who cut that board off to show that mural. You don't understand. These kids go to school every day facing all kinds of things. You don't know what they're facing. That mural didn't just stand for their sexuality, their religion. If it was missing something, something else could have been added to it. We could have asked the artist that did it in the first place if we could add something. Instead, you covered it up. And ever since it's been covered, my daughter has struggled every single day. She has mental health issues. You don't know what these kids are going through. She's been bullied at your school. It's been reported. Nothing has happened. She almost committed suicide because of that bully in November. But that mural helped her to go to her classes. And yet, you were asked to see how many students were out here. You never even turned your head. Could you please explain why it was covered up? Or if there is something else that we can replace it in? My daughter used to fist bump that mural to go to her next class, to give her the strength to make it past that bully in the hallway. Thank you.
Thank you. Wyatt Lamanek. And the next two, we have Jessica Cunningham and Ursula Cherry.
Hello. My name is Wyatt Lamanek, and I live at 6958 Turpin View Drive. I would like to give this from the perspective of someone who never went to Nagel, but am currently in Forest Hill School District. From 3rd grade to 8th grade, I attended a small parochial school. And when I say small, I mean there were 30 people in my grade. When I was in 5th grade, rumors started to spread like wildfire about the only openly gay student in the school. Apparently, some of the teachers had pulled him aside and had threatened to expel him if he didn't act in line. When I was in 8th grade, one of the teachers allegedly told her class that no gay person, friend, or family would be ever allowed inside of her home. What do you think comments like this would affect me? I started questioning my sexuality when I was in 6th grade. And so from that point on, all I heard were other students and teachers talking about the only openly gay student. So restore the mural, because it means a lot to a lot of people, and I know.
Next up, Jessica Cunningham. I said Jessica Cunningham. And then the next couple of speakers is Ursula Cherry and Tara Byrne. Could you please come to the stairwell?
Hi.
Okay.
Jessica
Thank you.
Cunningham, 2011 Forest Crest Way. Segregation. Segregation is the action of separating people historically on the basis of race and or gender. Segregation is the physical separation of people in everyday activities, in professional life, and in the exercise of civil rights. Violence was also a part of systemic segregation. Thousands of African Americans and minorities were brutally maimed, tortured, and murdered by white vigilantes. Lynchings occurred every week and were justified under established law that codified white supremacy. Raise your hand if segregation sounds like rainbow hearts, religious symbols, and celebrating coexistence and unity. Anybody? Anybody up here? No? No. So what about children creating a beautiful mural out of love and acceptance? No? Still no? Well, we can teach our children all the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but if they don't know how to go out into the world and interact with others who don't look like them or practice the same religion, we're setting them up for failure. Mr. Hook, I am deeply disappointed that you chose to prioritize a hateful political agenda instead of our children. That is a sad legacy to be known by. Excuse me. That's sad. Vote November.
Thank you. Next up, Ursula Cherry.
Hello, my name is Ursula Cherry, and my pronouns are she, her. I am an LGBTQ plus identifying student. I realized this in middle school. Like others, I have encountered homophobia from students and strangers. From
Get her out of this.
words,
That's assault.
from unkind words to stereotypes and blatant ignorance. Throughout times in my life, I felt crushed and despaired as a result of the social stigma.
Hold on.
Hold just a second. Hold on a
Excuse
second,
me.
okay? Can you hold on? Hold on. Okay, hold on a second. We'll let the police officer escort the lady out, and we'll focus back down here on the podium, please, and give her some respect here. Give the speaker some respect. Okay? Can you back up just about a couple paragraphs or something and start? Okay, thank you. She was well into her speak. She can back up, please.
Thank you.
I will let her decide and not you decide for her. Go ahead, ma'am. Yep.
Hello, my name is Ursula Cherry. My pronouns are she, her, and I am an LGBTQ plus identifying student. I realized this in middle school. Like others, I've encountered homophobia from students and strangers, from unkind words to stereotypes and blatant ignorance. Throughout times of my life, I have felt crushed and despaired as a result of the social stigma. I felt like I couldn't tell other people about my sexuality for fear of being ridiculed. I was in 8th grade when I first saw the mural. I walked into the staircase, I saw it, and I cried. Not tears of sorrow, but tears of comfort, of relief. I saw that pink, yellow, and blue heart that represents my sexuality, and I felt seen. I finally felt like I could belong, a feeling that was similarly felt by many of my fellow peers. With the removal of the mural, kids are deprived of that feeling of acceptance, not just LGBTQ plus kids, but kids of color and of different backgrounds. This mural serves as a symbol of hope for many, and I implore you to restore the mural. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Tara Byrne. And if I could ask the next couple of speakers to come and stand on the stairwell, we have Jeff Nye, Luciano Marati, and Mike Herman.
Good evening. My name is Tara Burke, 8242 Eastdale Drive. I have 3 kids in this district, actually only 2. One just recently graduated. I'm here today, as many of us are, to talk about the beautiful diversity mural. This is not political. This is personal. The first time I heard that the mural had been covered by a vinyl banner, I thought, certainly, once we can talk about this, once we can have a conversation and explain to leadership what this mural means to our students, we can work this out. Because through conversation, that's what reasonable people do. We can work this out without a media firestorm shining yet another negative light on our community. And more importantly, I thought we could work this out before our students and our families were hurt so deeply. After all, there are many blank walls at Nagel Middle School. So after reaching out to Mrs. Brennan, because I thought that was the appropriate thing to do, I reached out to Mr. Hook and left a message. I was very sad to learn that that mural was painted over before I was able to speak with him. And more importantly, without any public dialogue, without any public board discussion or vote. There are many blank walls at Nagel.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Nye.
Jeff Nye, 1000 Eversole. Usually I like to talk to the board, but today I want to talk to the administration and just say how disappointed I am, Larry, and you personally, for your handling of this mural issue. I think it's one thing to say culture is not a document you hang on the wall as you stand in front of a document you've hung on the wall, but especially when that document talks about supporting others and respecting each voice, to then paint over a mural art that was by kids for kids. I don't know if there's any better expression of culture than that. And yeah, I know that a 7th or 8th grade kid, 12 or 13 years old, damaged that banner, and that's unacceptable and it should be punished. But before that happened, you had an opportunity to reflect and take action, to value the feedback you received, to lead by example, to lead with humility and say, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have put it there. But you didn't. You doubled down. You didn't act like a leader, you acted like a kid, you took your ball and you went home, and I am incredibly disappointed.
Thank you. Next up, Luciana Marati.
Hi, I'm Luke Marati. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am a gay and transgender student from Turpin High School. I have been in the Forest Hills School District going on 13 years as a junior, and I would just love to express how utterly disappointed I am at the decision to cover up the mural at Nagel Middle School. Anyone who's been through middle school will tell you that is some of the hardest years you will experience in your life. You don't know what you're doing, and people are trying to tell you who and what to be, and the last thing you want to do is listen. Anyone who has been through Nagel will tell you that Nagel Middle School does not make that experience one bit better. I was in 8th grade when I saw that mural for the first time, and it gave me a feeling that that school had never given me before: acceptance and hope. And I want you to know that by covering that mural, you are denying all prospective Nagel students those feelings of acceptance and hope. And I'm in the middle of my marching band practice right now. I shouldn't have to be here expressing to the people responsible for my well-being and education my disappointment. I should be on the field, having fun with my friends, getting ready for performance at the homecoming game. But here I am, telling you what we need because you can't listen to us first. Restore the mural. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mike Harmon. Next up after that is Kevin Mishak, Molly McTighe, Nora Burke Wagner, and then David Kolonik. If you could please come over to the stairwell over here. Go ahead. Yep.
My name is Mike Harmon. I live at 1689 Summit Hills. I'm a new resident to Anderson. I have a kindergartner, and then I have a kid that's getting ready for preschool this upcoming year. I don't want to take away from what everybody's bringing to the table here. I'm actually here for public safety, though I do believe this ties in with public safety. I think everybody needs to feel included and safe here at the school district. So I'm learning a lot of new things. I'm seeing a lack of leadership from the school district. Just my perception so far as a new resident. I've just moved here. I think we're mishandling the public safety incident from last week where there was a unexpected person that walked into Anderson High School. We saw communication come out from that. I feel like we're just trying to move on from that. And it was in the news. It is something that was prevalent. Public safety is my background. I've been in public safety for over a decade. I'm seeing some shortcomings. There's not enough of these gentlemen here. We saw a need for them during this meeting just now. You're not going to be able to have enough of them. We're going to need to put some safeguards in place in the school district for me to feel safe for my children to be here. I know funding's coming in, but I can't stress that enough. Make people feel safe, included. there's no reason. This is new to me, the mural, but there's no reason we couldn't have a mural either. I don't understand that. But,
Thank you.
thank you.
Kevin Mishak.
My name is Kevin Mishak. I live at 8433 Holiday Hills Drive. I'd like to commend the staff. I moved here 7 years ago with my young children. We've lived through a lot of distractions. Construction, remodeling, levies, mascots, diversity, fights at Nagel, fights after football games, lots and lots of distractions. I can hardly wait to see what the next one will be. But I'd like to commend the staff, the teachers, the students for remaining focused on academics. I moved here 7 years ago for the education for my children, all right? Mine wasn't so great growing up. I made many sacrifices to be in this community. I put up with a lot from this community about things that are not important to my children's education, okay? Yeah, everybody's got their view. We should all get a mural on the wall. No, these are schools. It's academic education. And to that point, I'd like to commend your affiliation with Great Oaks. My child had a horrible experience at Nagel too, all right? But he rose up. We found out from a counselor at Anderson High School about Great Oaks.
Thank you very much. Next up, Molly McDye.
You done? Hi, Molly McTighe, 1745 Kingsway Court. I'm a parent of a fourth grader and kindergartner at Sherwood Elementary School and a mural artist. I worked really hard to help get the levy passed in the capacity that I was able to offer. At the April school board meeting, my 8-year-old spoke to you in support of the levy, already understanding the importance of her school being supported by the whole community. It's really sad how many people voted against the levy. I want to have a solid argument against their stance that the district wastes money and is inefficient. I wonder if the levy had failed, if you had had the time and money to spend on your new culture blueprint plan. Unfortunately, it has no value and is a waste in light of your authorization to remove the student mural at Nagel Middle School. The artwork was not abstract expressionism. It was not a Rorschach ink blot test where one's interpretation of it is as valid as any other. We know that because the artists told us what the meaning of the mural was, which was to make kids feel seen and to promote kindness and inclusion. It's a travesty that our district leadership is making decisions based off of one interpretation of that art that is unequivocally wrong. If you had had more thought and been more thoughtful and informed, you would have learned that the mural is actually completely in line with what your supposed cultural blueprint stands for. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Nora Burke-Wagner.
Hi, I'm Nora Zellen. I'll be using Ms. Wagner's time. Create a safe and inclusive learning environment where everyone feels heard, seen, and valued. That quote was taken directly from Forest Hill's new culture blueprint. The school district supposedly believes in student voice, but painting over student artwork sends the opposite message. The mural was painted for students, by students, and you erased it. The Nagel mural allowed students of every gender, religion, race, and sexuality, not to mention the students on the autism spectrum and those struggling with depression, to feel seen. The mural exhibited a safe and inclusive learning environment, yet it was painted over. That this action shows thoughtlessness, a lack of authenticity, and calls into question if the school board and superintendent want some students erased. Restore the mural and uphold your commitment to the students. Restore the mural. Thank you.
Thank you. David Kalanick.
Hello, David Kalanick, 7894 Meadow Creek Drive. I'm a father of 2 kids in the Forest Hills School District. That mural meant a lot to my daughter, Scarlett, and many students in the district. It was a lovely way for her and others to feel represented. The board and administration knew fully the impact it would have despite the risk to the students and their mental health. Our teachers shouldn't be alone in their efforts to support inclusivity for all students. This community deserves better from the board, the administration, and each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Human Resources, Mr. Rob Fellows.
Good evening to the board. Pretty straightforward agenda this evening from an HR standpoint, although I would like to point out and thank some incredible individuals who have announced their decision to resign for the purpose of retirement. Michelle Hicks, Linda Legeman, Sue Yates, and Edie Zimmerman, all 4 outstanding educators, collectively nearly 100 years of service to the Forest Hills District, which is outstanding. So we certainly wish them the best, but we get them for at least the next several months. We're excited about that. I would draw your attention to a couple items at the back of the report, particularly item N is the MOU. This is in relation to our negotiations over the summer, wrapping up that from June conversations with FHTA as we transition in a couple areas, particularly around severance. And item O is the resolution of intent. This is very similar to what we passed last year to continue to provide the district an opportunity to expand to the greatest extent possible the pool of candidates for substitute teachers. That's in line with kind of following COVID and the House Bill 583 and Governor DeWine's efforts to help expand opportunities there. I would remind also the board that we have an HR board committee meeting scheduled for October, at which point we will be doing the full-scale FTE reconciliation. That's scheduled for the 16th at 4 o'clock at central office. And we have not yet begun our consent agenda for this evening, so this is a standalone. Any questions before we proceed? Okay. Superintendent recommends the board approve the Human Resources report as presented.
We need a motion for the Human Resources report.
I'll make a motion to approve the Human Resources report as presented. Second?
Can't.
Oh, you weren't
No,
here.
you can't. That's right.
Second.
I can't.
You can't.
Second. Why?
Katie second.
Katie second. Yep.
Not here.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Bibb?
Abstain.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes. Thank you. Next up, we have Business Operations, Mr. John Eckert.
Good evening. This will be the start of the consent agenda at this point with items 9.1 and 9.2. These are no new items for the board, really. They're new items, but the first one is to authorize us to have EPC bid out for new buses, which we have had in the past. And the second is a similar resolution to the one we had last year. And so 9.2 is the revised resolution for payment in lieu of transportation, as we just have to update that as we have more students involved. Does anyone have any questions at this time? If no questions at this time, I would recommend that the board accept items 9.1 and 9.2 as part of the consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10.0, we have teaching and learning curriculum.
Hello again. I'm here for efficiency purposes. I'm going to present the first 10.1 on behalf of Mr. Hartley. The administration of Anderson and Turpin High Schools are requesting approval for the attached proposed for overnight trips. It is a list of just all the travel that we plan to do for our athletic teams, including any of those unexpected but expected tournaments that we hope to see later this year. For 10.2, we are bringing back a child focus contract for the remainder of this year. Earlier this year, we participated in a request for proposal so that we could evaluate all of our systems, look at the supports we have for our students, and really look at what are opportunities to expand and enrich our programs for students. Our contract with Child Focus currently expires on September 30th, and so this would renew that contract and help us continue to support the needs of students. My guest, Chrissy Myers, is probably watching. She sometimes watches our board meetings. She has been amazing. I do want to say that our folks with Child Focus have been awesome as we have worked through a couple of hurdles this year with some folks that they left unexpectedly, and so we're hoping to restore services in some of those schools with this contract. And again, with this process, we wanted to also take a look again at, while that programming with Child Focus is fantastic, we're consistently looking for ways to improve. We know that there are at times gaps, and we want to ensure that we are looking at any feedback that we have. The School Connection Survey is one piece of the pie, but we want to work with MindPeace as a new partner. They also partner with Child Focus to help us kind of look at some of the needs that we have from student feedback, but also to talk with stakeholders in our community so that we can ensure that not just for kids who are in crisis, but how do we provide supports before kids get into crisis. And so this is an opportunity. I know that there's been many questions. Our sole purpose is to look at how we can really wrap our arms around and provide a continuum of mental health services for our students. So it is the recommendation, 10.2, to approve the addendum to extend the service agreement previously set forth in 2022 between Child Focus and the Forest Hills School District, as shown in our attachment. And then also with the support of MindPeace, we would like to continue to support that partnership while looking for opportunities to expand with 10.3. MindPeace, again, if you're not aware, is a nonprofit organization focused on providing a seamless system of mental health care for children and adolescents. Their mission focus is the improvement and expansion of school-based mental health services, and we're very excited about that opportunity. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Item 11.0, teaching and learning student services.
Good evening. 11.1 is an agreement with the Cincinnati Center for Autism for behavioral consultation and the assignment of a BCBA and/or behavior specialist to support our students in with consultation and behavior support for the district. The effective dates of this agreement is beginning October 1st and ending May 31st of 24. This behavior specialist, just as some added information, would be assigned to Forest Hills 4 days a week. This is a partnership that began with funding that we received through COVID relief funds, referred to as our ARP funds. We used as an initial need for consultation. It involved into a great deal more formal support for our students and staff across the entire district. And it has led into some pretty significant service and a great improvement in a number of programs that we have in the district, such as our RISE program. So we're very, very pleased to have this partnership. So it is recommended that the board approve the Cincinnati Center for Autism behavioral consultation. Any questions?
No questions. Moving on to item 12.0, Treasurer's Update.
The Treasurer's Report, as always, begins with donations over the past month. Donations over the past August totaled just over $34,000. And of course, you can view the specifics of those donations on board docs, or we're going to have them up on the screen here in just a minute. I've got a blue screen. Technology's a little slow. We're having a little trouble.
It's okay.
Last page. There we go. There we go. So if we could leave those up just a few minutes to give everyone a chance to view them. Moving on, the next item in the Treasurer's report is the Statement of Board Accounts, which presents all funds activity for our current fiscal year. Of course, tonight's report has 2 months of information, since July and August are the first 2 months of our new fiscal and school year 2023-24. Item C presents the General Fund, our 5-year fund receipts for the month of August and our fiscal year to date. August is typically a higher cash flow month as we receive advances against the summer tax collections. So at this point in the year, revenues are tracking as expected. Items D and E present expenditures both by object and by function in the general fund for the month and the fiscal year to date. Expenditures in the general fund are very stable and are generally spent evenly throughout the year. With a couple of months into our new school year, we have spent $15.7 million. So again, appropriations are tracking as we would expect at this point in the fiscal year. The August 31st bank reconciliation and investments are presented in Agenda Item F, and Agenda Item E lists the permanent appropriations by fund for our current fiscal year 24. These appropriations are within the limits set by the May 5-year forecast, and the appropriation measure is required to be by the Ohio legislature, required to be passed by September 30th of each school year. These appropriations are necessary to operate the district throughout our current school year. Mrs. Jonas called me a little bit earlier, or sent an email actually, and requested that I give I share a short description of what each of the funds are established to account for. So I'm going to quickly run through each fund and explain what the purpose of the funds are. Keep in mind that I always like to put the fund numbers up there because those are required by the state of Ohio, and every school district in the state has to use the same fund numbers. So that way the state then, once they collect all of our financial data, can put out those comparative benchmarks that we talk about from time to time. So starting with Fund 001, the General Fund. The General Fund accounts for and reports all financial resources not accounted for or reported in another fund. The General Fund balance is available to the school district for any purpose that is provided, it is dispersed and transferred in accordance with Ohio law. We primarily use our general fund for operational purposes, and 85% of the general fund appropriations are spent on employee compensation, with the remaining 15% being spent on purchased services, materials and supplies, capital outlay, and debt service. 002 is a debt service fund. Debt service funds are used to account for and report financial resources that are restricted, committed, or assigned to expenditure for principal and interest. Our debt service fund accounts for the annual tax proceeds from the bond issue that was passed in 2014 and funds the debt services that is related to the district's $103 million construction project. 003, the next fund, permanent improvement. This fund is provided to account for all transactions related to the acquiring, construction, or improving of such permanent improvements that are authorized by the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 5705. Within our permanent improvement fund, we have 9 special cost centers. We have a main PI fund that records the activity of our permanent improvement tax revenue and interest earnings that are spent on projects throughout the district. In addition, we also have 8 smaller PI funds that are used to accumulate funds for specialized projects such as turf replacement, auditorium updates, and building-specific projects. 004 is the fund number that the state requires to be used for the receipts and expenditures related to all special bond funds in the district. All proceeds from the sale of bonds must be paid into this fund. Expenditures recorded here represent the cost of acquiring capital facilities, including real property land. This fund is where the proceeds of the debt issued due to our 2014 bond issue were placed. The expenditures for the new Wilson Elementary and the renovations to the other 8 buildings were recorded within this fund over the past several years since 2014. 006 is pretty straightforward, the food service fund. It's used to record financial transactions related to our food service operation. And I'm proud to report that our food service operation is self-sufficient with state and federal grants and student fees supporting the operations, and no transfers necessary from the general fund, which is not true in all school districts. So very proud of Tia. Shout out to Tia Strauss and her financial management there. Fund 007 accounts for scholarship where both the principal and interest are awarded to students. Fund 008 accounts the scholarship where only the interest is awarded and the principal remains year after year to earn interest. 009 is what the state calls the Uniform School Supply Fund, kind of a odd name, but its purpose is to account for all academic student fees and to account for the collection of those fees as well as the expenditures and purchase of the necessary school materials, supplies, and equipment with those fees. Fund 018 is official name is Public School Support. It's commonly referred to as the Principal's Fund. It's a fund to account for specific local revenue sources, for example, profits from vending machines, sale of pictures, small fundraisers within the building that are restricted to specific purposes set out by board resolution. Such expenditures can both be curricular and extracurricular, so they can be spent on either of those. 019 is a fund used to account for the proceeds of specific grant sources except for state and local grants. These grants are legally restricted to expenditures for specified purposes, and they're local grants. And to give you an example, Neediest Kids of All would be something from a not-for-profit grant that we would put in 019. Fund 027 is the Workers' Compensation Self-Insurance Fund. This fund, of course, accounts for our self-insured workers' compensation plan. As you know, and again, just last month, we did transfer $150,000. That's an annual transfer from the general fund into this fund. And expenditures out of this particular fund would be any legal expenditures, third-party administrative expenses, and claims pertaining to our workers' comp program. Fund 200, this is where we account for our student-managed activity funds. These particular clubs have students involved in the management of the program. Some examples here would be the language clubs, student council, yearbook, basically all clubs and activities that our students participate in except for music and athletics. Music and athletics are in the 300 Funds series. So the 300 funds have student participation in the activity, but do not have student management of the programs. So again, 300's athletic and music, 200's all other student activities and clubs. The remainder of the funds that I'm going to go through on this appropriation schedule are all state or federal grants. State grants are designated with a 3-digit number that begins with the number 4. Federal grants are designated with a 3-digit number that begins with the number 5. We have federal grants, even though all federal monies to school district flows through the Ohio Department of Education. So all of our grant wires are received from ODE. Moving on to our state grants, 401, the Auxiliary Service Fund. This is a fund that is used to account for money which provides services and materials to pupils attending non-public schools within the school district. For our district, the money you see in Fund 401 is money that we have received from the state that is for expenditure by IHM. They follow the same purchasing procedures that we have in our own school district, and as the public school treasurer, I'm required to make sure that they make their expenditures of state funds in accordance with state laws. For your knowledge, a non-public school that resides within the school district can decide whether or not they would like this public school treasurer to be their fiscal agent, and IHM has chosen to send their money through us. Miami Valley does receive their money directly. Moving on to State Fund 451, that's our Data Communication Fund. And this is a fund that accounts for money appropriated for the Ohio Education Computer Network connections. We use these funds to fund internet service at our school buildings. And then the state also sets up a miscellaneous grant fund because most of the funds I've mentioned before are annual type funds, so that we pretty much get the grant funds every year. But from time to time, the state sets up specific grant funds that are available only for that year or for several years in a row. But anyhow, as I said, we are told by the state what grant number what fund number to use for the grant. We currently have 2 miscellaneous state grants within 499. The first is a safety grant, and we've talked about that before. That is $565,630 of that appropriation, and of course it's being used for window security film, video surveillance systems, and safety provisions within our building. The second miscellaneous federal grant that we have appropriations for here is a little bit under $20,000, which was the electronic connectivity grant, and it was to be used for data plans for for devices. Moving on to the federal funds, which again are federal dollars that flow through the state. The first federal grant you see listed there is 507, and that is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, commonly referred to as ESSER. And of course, its purpose was to provide emergency relief grants to school districts related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Allowable expenditures include providing for the coordination of preparedness and response efforts to COVID, training and professional development of staff, planning and coordination during the school closures that we had early on in the pandemic, and purchasing technology for students and staff, supplies and materials necessitated by the pandemic, continuity of services, and services to homeless students. So there was quite a list of reasons and ways that we could use 507 grant funds. As you can see there, we have very little left. We got over $5 million over the last few years in 507, and as you see, we've got just under 29,000 left to spend there. Moving on to 516. 516 is an annual grant, and its purpose and must be used to provide an appropriate public education to all children with disabilities. So it is limited to be spent in ways that supplement our special ed programs. 551 is the Limited English Proficiency Grant Fund. And these monies must be used to develop and carry out elementary and secondary school programs, including programs at the preschool level, to meet the educational needs of children who have limited English proficiency. Fund 572 is to provide financial assistance to schools to meet the special needs of educationally disadvantaged children. So again, we must spend these funds on staffing, programs, materials, and supplies for educationally disadvantaged children. 584, Fund 584, purpose is to provide a disciplined environment conducive to learning by preventing violence in and around schools and strengthening programs that prevent the illegal use of alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. These funds can also be used to involve parents and coordinate with related federal, state, and community effort and resources to provide the drug, alcohol-free environment. Federal Fund 587 is the preschool grant program. So it addresses the improvement and expansion of services for handicapped children ages 3 through 5. So it has to be spent on handicapped preschool children aged 3 through 5. Fund 590, improving teacher quality. Those are funds that are used to provide for teacher professional development. Most of the money is spent on purchase services, bringing in professional development from the outside to aid in the training of our staff members. A little bit of the funds are also used for supplies that are involved in that training. So I tried to run through those quickly. I know it's already been kind of a long night. I don't know if you have any questions on any of the funds before we move on to our last report.
I do. On the 401, the money that passes through for IHM, we have to manage that?
Yes.
Do they reimburse you for the time that you spend on it, or no?
We are allowed to charge a small amount for fiscal handling,
Right.
which we do. Moving on to our last report, it's a new item, and it was also suggested by Mrs. Jonas. This is in preparation for starting this January when we start to receive a bit more tax revenue in permanent improvement. So we've added a detailed report. So you're going to be able to see the monthly and fiscal year-to-date revenue and expenditures in our main PI Special Cost Center. I don't know if that concludes the treasurer's report for tonight. I don't know if there are any further questions. If not, thank you for your attention, and I respectfully request that the board approve items 12.1A through 12.1H as part of the consent agenda, which begins with item 9.1 through 12.1H.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items 9.1 through 12.1H.
Second.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
No.
Mrs. Hosfeld?
Yes. Next up, 13.0, we have board correspondence. Would anybody like to take the floor?
Sure, I have a few things I want to go over. First, I want to start by addressing the blueprint. And, I had a conversation last week with somebody in central office who was part of the coalition of educators in our district that worked together to draft that. And it was insight, and it helped me realize, like, these are our teachers. These are the people that make our schools incredible, that despite the actions going on over here, keep our schools running. And unfortunately, I think a lot of things that have happened have kind of overshadowed their work in that area. And as it was explained to me, that is their vision for what education and the culture in our district should look like. And they're the ones in the rooms with our kids. So I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge their work and just the fact that that does mean something to them, despite what else has been happening. I also wanted to address safety because that has come up, obviously. We may not agree on the board often, but what I can tell you is I know that we unifiedly care about safety in this district, and I was personally very upset and shocked to see the video. My bigger concern is the lack of communication surrounding it, and that transparency. If we're going to say we're transparent, then we need to be transparent. And that includes Mr. Hook's communication to the board. I found out more details at a council's meeting. That should not happen. That should be something that is communicated clearly and in a very timely fashion. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank all of the students that came out tonight and had the courage and conviction to come speak in what is certainly an intimidating room at times. They spoke from their heart. I caught myself tearing up several times. I'm a parent myself. I have no idea what it's like to raise a middle schooler yet, but I can tell you my 5th grader scares me. And it hurts. It hurts to the core to see that they are hurt. And on that end, I want to read an email from a student that really touched my heart. And this is a Nagel Middle School student who was not comfortable coming tonight. So I asked to read the email. Dear School Board of the Forest Hills School District, I want you to know that the mural meant so much to all of us at Nagel Middle School. The mural made so many people of different races, religions, sexes, etc. feel like they belong. The mural celebrates our diversity. The mural is a sign that means we will accept you even if you are different. The mural represents that who we are is who we are, and no one has the right to ridicule, bully, or abuse anyone. But most of all, it shows that the world shouldn't stay separate because we are one people who will grow together, live together, and learn from each other. And if you can't accept that, then why are you even here? Sincerely, and the student signed their name. That's a little kid. That's a kid that's not much older than my daughter. And I felt it was really important to share their words tonight. Mr. Hook, you've stated that you want to make good decisions for students and that it's all about the students, but you will not answer student questions about why the mural was really destroyed. Instead, you said it didn't fit with your blueprint. You have not answered my questions either. The response you've given is an insult to the intelligence of our students and to myself and to our community. And you and I both know that that's true. You know that's true, Larry. And I wish deeply that I could explain to the students and to the community members that have emailed, that have stopped me at Kroger, that have come out to this board meeting. I wish I could explain to them why the mural was actually destroyed, but I don't know. What I do know is that the week prior, I spoke with Mr. Hook and asked, how can we remedy this situation? If that sign needed to go in that place, fine. But what could we do to preserve that art? It wasn't just a small piece of paper. It was absolutely a symbol and something that was special to Nagel Middle School. But if it had been covered up, can we come to the table and find a way to meet in the middle, figure out a way to just simply preserve the student artwork? In fact, I said, much like we did at Anderson High School when it rebranded, there were photographs and things like that taken of the content. And Mr. Hook suggested we take a photo of the mural and perhaps share it somehow. We were talking out loud on a phone call, brainstorming. And the next thing I know, that was out the window, and the decision instead was made to destroy the mural. Larry said earlier, it's amazing to watch the interactions between staff and students. We heard some very wonderful news tonight. This is my 4th year on the board, although it feels like 10 sometimes. Every year, I am amazed at how many National Merit Scholars we have. And I hope one day that my kids will be up here too. Kim Tinsley shared about the amazing things we're doing when we focus on student outcomes. That's what she said, focus on student outcomes. She shared awards that our teachers have won and all of the great work that they have done. We have 2 of the best high schools in the state of Ohio, and that's what we should focus on, not these other things. This board also ran on a promise to leverage creative ideas to finally fix the pool at Anderson High School. Instead, we have the board president on record as saying, you think you can trust your administrators and teachers, but you can't. We just heard from our state representative whose help was rejected for capital projects. Everybody in this room, do you know what a capital project is? A pool. That is leveraging creative ideas. That is collaborating. That is making partnerships. If we say that we care about the students, then why have we been careless with the students? If we say about, Larry, I'm talking to you specifically, if you say that you care about honesty, then why have you been dishonest? If you care about transparency, but you refuse to answer questions, even my questions, you want to take this arrow, but your actions need to match your values. That's why people are here. That's why the myriad of emails are coming through saying this is hypocrisy. The blueprint actually does matter to people, to our teachers, the ones that are in the rooms, keeping our schools the successes that they are. And that is damaged because of leadership's choices, not because of what teachers have done. We have a board policy, 1230, that outlines Larry Hook's duties. And you can not look at me, and you can scribble just like you did when people were talking to you, all you want. It does not change the fact that that policy exists. And if you want, I'm happy to pull it up and read it right now. Because what you told me is counter to what this policy states. You do not work for just the majority. You work for the board. The first thing in this policy says that you are to keep the board informed of school operations by preparing, and it goes on to list all of the other things. You have not done that. In fact, you have taken a stance against that policy. And I am very concerned what that means moving forward for our community and for our students. What I would like to see is actual care for our students. Perhaps you should reach out to the students that came and spoke to you and shared their feelings about your decision and how it hurt them. That's a sign of a strong leader. A leader that can say, you know what, I messed up, I misspoke, etc., and repair those relationships, because those kids matter. I would also like to improve communication. I would like you to follow Policy 1230. And I would like to see honesty and transparency. We do not have to agree and that's okay. But it does not mean communication gets shut down because you want to play some kind of game or politics or whatever. We are here to do the business of the board, and it's time to get back to doing the business of the board to to stop overshadowing, frankly, what our teachers are doing and what our students are doing. Tonight was a wonderful display of all of the amazing things that happen. And instead, we've got like 5 news crews here. I implore you to get back to the business of the board. We had an opportunity to really actually maybe make some traction with this pool situation, not just for Anderson High School, but maybe district-wide. That is truly something that we should have capitalized on, and I'm frankly kind of stunned to learn that that help was rejected. So I hope that you will reach out to those students, and I hope that every student, whether you're here, you've gone home, you catch the story on the news, whatever it is, I want people to know, especially those students, that paint erased that mural, but it does not erase you. And there's an army of adults behind you, cheering you on, and that will not stand for this. And we have your backs. Yes.
Are you done?
For now, yes.
Okay, Bob, do you have anything you'd like to add, or?
I just wanted to thank everybody for the top rating and all the awards we've won. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I do have a security question. Is there a way to get alarm triggers on the door so if it's open for longer than 5 seconds, I don't know, that tells us this door is propped open?
We are actually looking into that.
Okay.
I think John just started that process, and so we'll be able to have some more information on not just that, but maybe other options too.
Sure.
Thanks, Bob. Katie?
Yeah, I had a few things I wanted to talk about. So I kind of put a little speech together. So there are many things that keep us divided: politics, racial issues, gender, sexual identity, theology, etc. We as a school district should strive not only for unity, but for harmony, not divisiveness. We must use wisdom and discernment, not our emotions, when engaging with each other. As we focus on uniting our community, it is important to look at our similarities and not our differences. We are Forest Hills. We are Anderson Township. No society thrives when its community incites anger and division. I can't speak for everyone, but I believe most people don't want to be divided by race or gender, religion, nor should we want unity of thought. Each person is truly unique, and every student should feel welcomed and valued in our schools and community. We don't all have to agree, but we should share in a common goal of living together peacefully and freely. I know many people are upset about the mural being taken down. That said, there are people who believe it never should have gone up to begin with. Public schools may not permanently display religious symbols or messaging. That has been clearly stated over and over again. And I'd also like to add that I don't know that artwork was meant to be permanent, and the vandalism obviously became a distraction. So I don't necessarily feel that it wasn't time for it to go. I think that it was distracting to the classroom and the environment. I don't think you get to throw a temper tantrum by causing vandalism and then expect to get your way. I don't think that sends the right message. I think we need to make policies that are based on thinking critically, not based on emotion, and doing what's best for all of our students in this district. And I agree with Paul McGibbon. Culture wars have no place in our schools. We're not here for social justice platforms, and we need to be focusing on education in the classroom. And Ava said something earlier today about nothing being done about bullying, and this is something that really speaks to my heart. I've had many students go through these schools and and had bullying issues. And I've had my kids get in very low places because of the bullying here. And I agree we need to be building our community, and I think we need to be doing something about bullying. There were many students that had mentioned that same situation over and over again of bullying in these schools and nothing being done about it. I have parents stop me. I had somebody stop me today at the YMCA talking about the same thing, and they pulled their kids from this school. And I think that the culture here needs to change, and we need to be doing something so that all students in this school feel safe and all students feel welcomed. And I don't think parents should have to worry about sending their kids to these schools and being bullied or picked on or hurt or anything like that happening. And I know I personally get very emotional when we talk about bullying because I've seen it with my own kids here, and it breaks my heart to hear other students talking about their same experience and nothing being done about it. And I just feel like we really need to put our foot down and do something about it.
Thank you, Katie. So I want to make a comment about Representative Rachel Baker here, who came on to basically attack somebody on the board here and spread a lie about not wanting her to come here because she's a Democrat. I think she represents all people, so I'm not sure why she said that. And if she truly had something to come to bring to the district, these two people right here would be the people that she should talk with. She complained that she didn't get time, but she's here speaking about it. So I'm really confused about where she was trying to come from.
I can
So,
clarify. I talked to
hold
Larry
on a
about
second.
it. It wasn't a lie.
I didn't say because she was a Democrat. No, that is a lie.
You said, did you say
That
that
is
we
a
need to
lie.
bring a Republican if we bring a Democrat?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Why would I say that? That has nothing to
I
do.
agree, it has nothing to do. I'm telling you, I talked with Larry about it when I found out that we had rejected.
Okay, thank you. But I'm talking right now, Leslie, so thank you. I
Clarifying.
gave you your time. You can give me my time. Thank you.
Absolutely, I just want to clarify the
Obviously.
lies.
Yeah, let's clarify that I did not say that.
Thank you for doing that.
So, if Rachel Baker she never reached out to me personally, never got an email. So if she really truly has something that she would like to bring to the district, why doesn't she email somebody? I've never received an email from her. Thank you. I received the emails. I did not get an email from her. She may have spoke with Mr. Hook. I don't even know if she reached out to our treasurer, if she truly has something that she wants to bring.
Well, thank you.
Nothing says that she can meet with them and bring something to the district if it was that important. We would have loved to have seen it. So thank you very much. And as far as Larry and all of the staff that is underneath him and our teachers, regarding the security piece, you know, I know you guys tried to act as quickly and as urgent as possible. Board members did get a text from Larry, so I'm not sure if anybody is saying that they didn't, but I received one, and then communications came out afterwards, and now here we are, fast forward, and I believe that with our second resource officer, that brings us a second level, even more of a level. We have this gentleman right here who says that he's an expert. We'd love to hear from you and hear some comments, and if you could reach out to our district, that would be extremely helpful. So we're all here to make this district better and move forward and make it the best that we can. So thank you. Moving on to 14.0.
Oh, I have
the
one last
adjournment.
comment. One last comment before we adjourn. I just want to thank you for clarifying that and for extending the offer to Rachel Baker, our representative, to come meet with the district about these opportunities, because from my understanding and conversations with her, it could be very valuable. So thank you for clarifying that and extending the invitation.
14.1. adjournment. On 14.1, we have the next scheduled meeting of the Board of Education on October 18th at 6:30. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to
I make-
adjourn.
Second.
Mrs. Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Bibb,
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen,
Yes.
Mrs. Hosfeld.
Yes.